The seasons of the year are really interesting because, as I said to you, with my dad raising the livestock that he raised, spring, for instance, around Easter, would always mean the shipment of baby chicks from Sears Roebuck. And I could remember that that would always mean a trip to, I can't remember which furniture store my dad used to go to, but we would go and we would get a couple of refrigerator crates, which in those days were made out of very light plywood, and that would be turned into a brooder, which would be put in the basement, you know, with a wire base, and until the chicks were big enough to be put out. There's kind of a funny story about that. My grandmother, who lived on Elmont Road, the house is still there, but I think it's a business, some sort of an oil company office now. But my grandmother was one of those German grandmothers who used to get up every morning and make 7 o'clock mass. She never failed to go to 7 o'clock mass. And it was a famous family story because if you remember, or if other people remember, when baby chicks were shipped by UPS in those days, it could be 3 o'clock in the morning. They would knock on your door and deliver the chickens because they couldn't keep them. So what had happened is my grandmother had just left. No, she was just ready to leave for church when there was a delivery of chickens. This was, probably March or somewhere in there. And it was in a little flat wooden box, 25 chickens. And she didn't know what to do with it until she got back from church. So the cold stove in the kitchen was still warm from the night before. So she opened the door and put the chicks into the oven, figuring I'll take them out when I come home. And of course my grandfather came down not long after and started a fire in the stove. And that was the end of the chicken. But her remark had become famous, and whenever there was a tragedy in the family, we would always use that line, oh mein Gott in Himmel, my chickens, she said when she came back in. Whenever something would go wrong, that was our way of announcing a major tragedy in the family.